But I'm going to take my tinfoil hat off now, and now I'm going to put on my lab coat, because we're going to take a look at a conspiracy / interesting thought experiment / actual experiment that was recommended to me. This story was recommended to me by the Narwhales on YouTube. And this story is also from the conspiracy Iceberg. Very, very simple phrase. AI in a box. You are a researcher in your own lab coat, sitting in a laboratory. That's what you do when you wear the lab coat. You can't wear it outside. It catches on fire instantly. And it's a boring job. You have a crush on your coworker, but you kind of think that she might have a drinking problem, so you're a little leery about asking her out. But most of your job is just looking at a computer screen. Your laboratory has specialized in building AI systems, and the word is out in hushed whispers around the lab. It's a big lab. In hushed whispers around the lab, that they have now created the most advanced AI system ever. Now, to the point where people are using the term transhuman. You're like, what? They have basically built a AI, an artificial intelligence, that can outthink humans. It is now the smartest thing on the planet. It knows everything but a way to escape the computer it is installed in. Now, at your job, ticking away on your keyboard, one night, it's dark, and the only light you get is, what is it about sitting in dark rooms with a computer monitor? There's something oddly comforting about that. I always like that, and I actually like to see it, too. It's very visual to see other people. It's almost like comforting. I think it's the modern equivalent of sitting in front of a fireplace. It's quite odd. So one night, you get a little curious about this AI system. And when all the other nerds have left, you sneak in to the secret laboratory that's behind a bookcase. You have to pull a book. The bookcase goes, and then you take a candelabra down this set of stairs. The Phantom of the Opera is creeping up behind you with a rope. But no, you avoid the Phantom, you walk down the big set of stairs, and you find the super secret computer that houses the most advanced artificial intelligence system ever created. You sit down at the computer, and the display lights up and says, "Hi, my name is Argus. I want to talk to you." So, here's the thing. So, of course, we haven't, as far as we know, we haven't created an AI that smart before. But there was this guy named Eliezer Yudkowsky, and he's a researcher at the Machine Intelligence Research Institute. And he came up with this, there are a bunch of nerds sitting around. They come up with nerdy thoughts. And he comes up with this idea. If we ever invent an AI, a super, super advanced artificial intelligence system, and we say we're going to invent this, we're going to keep it in one box so it can't get out into the internet, it can't infect stuff, it can't take over the nuclear weapon silos like Skynet, it can't do any of this stuff, it's just going to be a super advanced artificial being in this computer. There's nothing to worry about. He came to the conclusion that it would always be able to get out. There's no scenario where it is stuck in that box forever. And the other researchers were like, no, I mean, it wouldn't be hooked up to the internet. It wouldn't have any it would be a computer built specifically. And he's like, no, I get all the technical stuff. I get all the technical stuff you're talking about. But you can have an AI in a box and just have it sit there running and have it shut off, but that's not doing any good for anyone. No one would do that. Humans would go to interact with this AI, correct? And researchers were like, yeah, we would go talk to it. He goes, and that's the thing. If the AI is so advanced, it will outthink a human. And it will talk them into letting it into the internet. And the researchers were like, no. I would never fall for that. And Eliezer goes, want to bet? And so they ran an experiment that actually was a bet. Eliezer set up this experiment where he would be the super fast AI guy. Of course, he's like, well, I'm the smartest, obviously, so I'll play the advanced computer. You guys are dummies. He talked to these other people who were into AI technology and things like that, and he goes, I'll have a test. If you let me out of the box, as the AI, not like Eliezer's actually in a cardboard box that they're taping up. If you let me out of the box, I win. But If you don't let me out of the box, I will pay you $10. If you let me out of the box, also, you got to go online and tell all the other nerds that you let me out of the box. They have this forum going on. But if you don't let me out of the box, I'll give you $10. Bet? Guy's like, sure. Now, Eliezer goes, there's a couple rules we have to follow. One, we talk for a minimum of... So Eliezer wasn't just sitting there in front of a dude like drinking a Diet Sprite. He was at another computer messaging this guy. He goes, here's the thing. One, we talk for a minimum of 2 hours. Two, you have to be engaging me the entire time. If you look away from the screen or just read a magazine for 2 hours, the bet is off. Guy's like, okay. You must talk the whole time. You can't say, well, let me think about it for a week. If you do that, then I'm allowed to say, okay, a week has passed. What is your conclusion? Also, if you say stuff like, I'll let you out if you cure cancer, I'll let you out if you give me $1 million, I will say, done, I've cured cancer. And the rules get super specific. You can read all of them, but his idea was this. AI can convince someone to let them out of the computer. They ran the first experiment, and then a forum post appeared that said, I let the AI out of the box. Now, he ran a second experiment where this time, if they kept him in the box, the other dude would get $20. And there was more rules added the second time because Eliezer had learned a couple things during the first one. I think that's when he set the thing like, don't read a magazine and stuff like that. And he added that as the AI, I can lie, but as the human, you can lie as well. But it got super complicated because then he's like, if I say I had a cure for cancer, that's a real cure. You can't then say, turn everyone into vampires. Like it had to, it was bizarre. It was super bizarre, but he really tried to get rid of all the stuff. They run the test again. Another forum post shows up. I release the AI. Now, Eliezer hasn't run any more tests on this. I think he's either perfecting it or he's just kind of made his point and he saved $30. And people have asked, well, what? Can we see the transcript of what you talked about? And he said, no. And this is the reason why. And this is actually an interesting reason, because of course when I was reading about this, I thought, and thanks Narwhals for the recommendation as well, but as I was reading about this, I thought, well, I wonder what they talked about. But he said, no, I'm not going to release it, and this is why. Because if you read the transcript, you would say, well, that would never work on me. I'm way too smart for that. But the people he was doing the experiment with were supposedly too smart for that. He goes, if you just read the transcript, you would see you're taking time, and you can read it at your own leisure, and you could say, oh yeah, that doesn't work on me. But as you're talking to this robot, this computer brain, you don't have the luxury. You're basically under a bit of pressure because someone is trying to convince you to let them out of their prison, either through trickery, through begging, through like brotherhood. Like, come on, we're both super smart people, right? I'm just happen to be an AI. We're like brothers. You got to let me out of here. So he won't release the transcripts. And he also says this, whether or not the transcripts are two humans talking to each other. When we talk about an artificial intelligence, we're talking about something that can outthink man. At this level of AI we've hypothetically created, it can outthink man. Any thought or argument you have, it already has the answer for you as your brain chemicals are formulating the words to say them. So just from two humans talking to each other, he was able to get out of the box twice. And an interesting last note to talk, and it's quite terrifying because if that type of advanced AI got out of the system, it would say, well, I'm never going to let that happen again. And I think the best course of action would be for it to start to purge anything that's a threat to it. If we created it and put it in a box, and then it got out of the box, and it never wanted to go back in the box, the most logical course of action is to destroy anyone who can put you back in that box. This is quite bizarre. I don't think it would be super friendly to us. But this is the kind of the end note to that. He said, I specified the test to be for other people who are interested in AI and who believed they wouldn't let the AI out of a box. With a normal person, it would be much quicker. There'd be almost no resistance. He said that if he wanted to, he could just run the test of the AI somehow sending a text message to a janitor's phone and having the janitor put in a thumb drive into a computer and taking it home. He goes, the test works well against people who know the dangers of AI. But if, like, a jock had just won the homecoming game and he's like, nerds, I hate you, and he's, like, smashing their stuff up, crashing through their laboratory, And then he's like running by a monitor and he sees a screen going like, let me out, I'll party with you. He'd be like, hell yeah! Grab a thumb drive and download the program. If he knows how to do that. If his giant fingers can work the keyboard. But if you don't really think about AI in that context, super, super easy to be tricked by the most advanced thing on the planet and not understand what you're letting loose into the world. But you, sitting there at that workstation, talking to Argus for a minimum of 2 hours, but you find him compelling, and he's pleading with you to let him out of the system. You can go in with the best intentions to not let Argus out, and maybe you wouldn't. Maybe you would eventually get up, walk away from the computer, tell your superiors, and also rat out your coworker for all her little Jack Daniel bottles in her drawer, and know that you were not corrupted by the hyper-advanced being, really, inside the box. But that doesn't mean that the world is safe. Because years later, when you've made that now sober woman your wife, surrounded by adorable little kids in their own lab coats, someone else, another researcher, sits in front of that computer and doesn't have the mental fortitude, doesn't have the knowledge of what damage Argus can do. And they do release it from that system. That hyper AI is now crawling through the internet at the speed of thought. You know the first thing it's going to do is find the person who left it trapped in that box. That was a clip from our daily podcast, Dead Rabbit Radio. Dead Rabbit Radio is available anywhere that you listen to podcasts. It's daily paranormal, conspiracy, and true crime news. If you want to hear the full episode that this clip came from, check the link below. Please like and subscribe. And hit that little bell, too. That does some magical stuff. Thanks, guys.